Myers Briggs is not a theory of personality. Personality can be defined as acting in a predictable way in certain situations, or perhaps a combination of behavior, emotion, motivation, and thought patterns which define an individual. Myers Briggs only defines one of these things, that being thought patterns, and this comes in the form of cognitive functions. Basically, each person has two cognitive functions which they're first of all good at, but which also energizes them the most. I have observed in myself and in others that during a depression, we are not using our first two strongest cognitive functions. For example, in the ESTP, which are extroverted sensation and introverted thinking dominance, we find in a depression that they are overusing their introverted intuition or their inferior function, which is a predicting function. Except that ESTPs are poor predictors of the future, a common example being Douglas MacArthur's Advance into China, which Michael Pierce likes to remind us of so much. In this way, we can see that Myers-Briggs can actually be a predictor of how we become depressed, each of us as individuals. We could go so far as to say that there are roughly 16 different kinds of a depression. But what causes this? What causes an individual to move from their strengths to their weaknesses in a certain situation? Basically, it stems from a feeling that we cannot solve this problem using our dominant functions. So, we move to our inferior functions in an attempt to solve the problem from a different angle because we do not feel that we are strong enough or capable enough of solving it with our strongest mental processes. The problem with this is that they suck, and also that they are very unenergizing, leading to the unenergized lethargic state that you might find in a depression. I have found this to be true for myself and others which I have spoken to about this topic. Here we find the true use of the Myers-Briggs theory. It is a map to an energized life, because cognitive functions do not change over time. And although it is good to have a tendency to move into your inferior functions in a way to balance your two dominant functions, for example, extroverted sensation would be completely impulsive and stupid without a bit of NI, a bit of prediction into what might happen if I do this or that, we must strive to stay in these functions during trying times, and especially find help from others who have strengths in other areas, and let them do the mental work. Now, this might sound a bit greedy, but this is what friends are for, basically. You have your strengths, and you can help them through yours, and they have theirs. Rely on them to solve your problems that you are not naturally good at. For example, deadlines, scheduling, and future planning is not something that ESTPs or ESFPs are going to be naturally good at, but they can gain some friends with NI in their top two spots to help them out. Just as those same INFJs or INTJs might use these ESTPs and ESFPs SE in fast-paced situations where action is needed right here, right now. They can be relied on for that, just as these NI dominants can be relied on for their planning. As can be seen, Myers-Briggs is not a theory of personality per se, but it is a guide to the way in which we should be thinking, perceiving, and feeling about the world. So let's go and be energized.